Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So today we're going to take a look at this 2023 GMC Sierra 1500 Elevation. Huge shout out to Randy Marion, Buick GMC, for providing this truck for me today. Check out their website, that link is down in the description. The 1500 that you see behind me is finished off in Summit White, and we'll talk about the MSRP once we get this truck out on the road, because the Elevation is more of the base level trim for the 1500. So we'll go over all the features that are available for this Elevation trim level and see if it can justify that MSRP. So we'll start off with what powers this 1500. Underneath the hood is the 2.7 liter turbo high output engine paired to the 8-speed automatic transmission. This pumps out 310 horsepower, 430 pound-feet of torque. That power is primarily sent to the rear wheels. However, this truck does have the four-wheel drive system. It weighs in right around 5,000 pounds, and it also has a fuel capacity of 24 gallons. You'll expect to see around 18 miles per gallon in the city, 20 out on the highway. This also has a wheelbase of 156.9 inches. Its overall length is 241.4. It has a width of 81.2, a height of 75.6, and its ground clearance measures in at 7.9 inches. And as we move on to the exterior styling now for this GMC, let's start off with GMC front and center. You'll notice the two-tone look with the red and the chrome surrounding it, along with the black grille and plenty of cutouts to provide a lot of cooling to that engine and all of the front components as well. I think it has a great design to it, right in the middle of both of the LED headlights, DRLs, and turn signals, and there's even fog lights down in the lower section. This even has functional trim pieces right in the middle to allow for more airflow, better aerodynamics. There's more cutouts in the lower section along with a tow hook on both sides. A little bit of an air dam to provide even more aerodynamics. I love the cutout that goes right through the middle. That is a functional cutout too. And then for the hood, there's very clean lines running down it, meeting the top section of that grille very nicely. So it has a good presence to it. And as we work our way to the side, this has a set of 20-inch wheels finished off in black with that multi-spoke design to them. You can see a little bit of the fender flares finished off in that black as well. There's an Elevation badge on the door and a pretty cool graphic and design for the 1500 badge. I really like the pattern and the texture that has. Now this has black side mirrors. There's black trim surrounding all of the windows and some nice lines that run down the side. There's one just above the driver door handle there, a few in the lower side skirt, and it's very proportional with the size of the bed that is offered for this truck. So it has a good side design to it. And then last up in the rear, this has the backup camera along with GMC Sierra. This has the taillights on both sides, body colored bumper with the bed steps, which is nice to see. Now I've seen a few towing ratings for this 2.7 liter ranging from 9,400 to just over 11,000. So it depends on the configuration that you go with. In order to get that max towing, you do have to have the towing package, of course, in order to get that. So with the exterior wrapped up, let's work our way to the bed space now. I can double tap the button on the key fob, or I can use the electronic button that's just underneath. Now it will release to here. From there, we can open it up the rest of the way, where this does have the spray and bed liner, so you have all of that protection that you need. There's also a 3-prong outlet, several tie-down hooks in all 4 corners to place a lot of items as needed. And obviously you can tell that this has a body colored tonneau cover, which is pretty cool to see. Makes it blend in a little bit nicer. Obviously that's an accessory, just depending on what you're using your truck for. So plenty of space for the size of this bed, and it has a lightweight tailgate, so that is easy to close. This truck also has remote start, surprisingly, for being an entry level. So by locking it and then double tapping on this button, it'll fire right up, very, very quiet at the same time. Now if I hold on this button instead of double tapping it, it will shut off as needed. And now we can unlock the truck and take a look at these back seats. So for the interior, you have some nice materials like the wood trim along with the chrome just underneath it. There's leather on the armrest, a little bit of storage along with one of the speakers. And then for these seats, they are finished off in cloth, but they have a good two-tone design to them. Still retains the storage that is behind the center of each area or each middle seat. And you still get all of that additional storage space up underneath the seats. So it is definitely a nice design. You have a grab handle too. No running boards for this model, but at 5'10", I can work my way up into this truck where I have a good amount of space. There's only an air vent along with some auxiliaries right in the middle. You do have a 3-prong as well if you need to use it. And then this does have the armrest along with the cup holders and storage. And you have a good amount of headroom too. Again, at 5'10", I have around 3 or 4 inches above my head. So it is capable for full-size adults to be in the back. And you also have a lot of visibility out of the back seats. So it doesn't feel too claustrophobic, as it should not, being a full-size truck. Now for the driver door panel, it has all of the window controls, side mirror adjustments, lock and unlock, even more storage space in that lower section. And then for this elevation, this is a 6-seater pickup. The jump seat is right in the middle. Everything finished off in cloth, of course. There's a grab handle for your front seat passengers as well, so that makes it a lot easier to get in and out. You can see the graphics too. Pretty cool to see that. And with that out of the way, let's fire this back up. That button is located down below. We can bring this back to life, where you'll see the massive digital gauge cluster. Currently, you can see miles per hour on the left side. TAC is on the right side, and right in the middle, you can scroll through a lot more info using these buttons on the right side. There's also the Bluetooth and voice commands, but currently it's showing the speedometer. If I scroll down, there's drive summary along with trip information that you can monitor, even a timer and the TPMS. You have the driver assistance that you can monitor as well, and some other vitals just depending on what you'd like to see. You can scroll over and look at the music when you have that on. You even pull up the compass, look at your phone, and then you have different settings that you can go into and configure what you'd like to see. So as you're seeing everything being highlighted, you can actually control what you'd like to see, and you can change the entire layout of this digital gauge cluster. So it's pretty cool to see that. Just depending on your mood and what you need to see, the clean setting pretty much takes everything away, where it's just the miles per hour. So it's nice to have this amount of information to be able to go through all of that front and center. Now for the gear shifter, that is over on this right side. Simply by pulling it down, putting it into reverse, you'll see the backup camera up here with the guidelines. There's also a trailer line too. So if you're backing up to a trailer, there's drive, even a low range gear, and you can also shift on the plus and the minus. So if you are towing a trailer, you can use that as needed. And this also has volume and tuning on the back side of the steering wheel so that you can easily adjust those. This has all the cruise and adaptive cruise control settings, even the heated steering wheel, and the steering wheel is finished off in solid leather, which gives it a great look. Now on this left side, there's the electronic parking brake along with auto. There's 4-wheel drive, 2-wheel drive, and you have the different driving modes. So by twisting on that dial, you can see there's the driving modes for off-road, you have terrain, there's also normal, and the last one is sport. So depending on how you're driving, along with the trailering system, which you can activate, there's all the headlight adjustments, the cargo bed light, even dimmer switches for the gauges, and the fog lights as well. There's also one air vent just above that with some piano black surrounding it. And there's a little bit of storage just in front of the center infotainment system. So this is the all-new system for the newer GMC models. And as you can tell right now, there's quite a lot of icons that you can go through. You can see audio and map along with phone, the cameras, you can go into the Play Store. You have your climates, even your trailer that you can go into as well. On this left side is the home icon, and there's shortcuts to music. You can pull up the Google Maps in full screen, so you can go through all this information, of course. You have your phone. There's even a shortcut to the trailering system. Now these are configurable, so it just depends on what you like to have on that left side. And on the right side, as you've been able to tell, we have the split screen. So you can still go through information on both sides and not interrupt either one, which is a great feature to have. Now there's a physical button for power and volume for the radio, along with home. And then there's a nice row of toggles for your lane keeping assist, engine start stop. You can deploy the tailgate, there's traction control, along with the hazards, and you can even put all 4 windows down with the push of a button. Now you can't use that to put them back up, so you do have to put each one up individually, of course, but it is pretty cool to have that even for a truck like this. Now there's wood trim just underneath that, leading all the way to the passenger side, where there is a glove box. You have a little bit of storage on the upper section, not very usable, but it's nice to have that additional space. And then at the bottom is all of the climate adjustments, along with the heated and ventilated seats. So these cloth seats have those adjustments. You also have the temperature dials for the dual zone. There's some auxiliaries on that right side, and then where you'd like the air to go, and all of that information. And then being a 6-seater, there's plenty of room down in the middle section, where if you don't have a person in this seat, you can actually pull on this tab and fold this down. Now we have the traditional armrest along with the center area. You have 2 cup holders and a little bit of storage located all around. So just depending on if you need that or you need a person right in the middle, you have the option to do that. There's also the glove box over on the passenger side where you can place a little bit more info. And we'll take another look at the interior. It's a really nice setup. I really like this elevation trim level. Up top, there's the dome lights along with the call buttons as well. As we set off now behind the wheel for this 1500, this elevation trim level has an MSRP of right around $57,000. Now, when you compare that to some of the other GMC Sierra models like the AT4 and the AT4X, which are closer to $70,000, $75,000, depending on the options that you go with, I believe that this elevation is a lot more of a work truck than some of those other models. And I talk about that every time I review a pickup truck, because if you're buying a pickup truck, you're going to be using this for work. And work is a very broad term, from working around your house, construction, whatever your job may be if you need to use a truck, or you use it recreationally, hauling motorcycles and whatever you need to put and use for that bed space. So the elevation that we're in right now for $57,000 is still an expensive truck, but this is more of a true work truck. And the fact that this is a 6-seater, really not a lot of vehicles offer the jump seat in the front anymore, at least for newer models like the 23 that we're in right now. And I think this is pretty cool, because if you're using this, you're actually using it for work purposes like construction or something where you have a lot of adults with you. Having that 6th seat can be very important. Or if you're just hauling a lot of people in general and you need that 6th seat for your pickup truck, I think that is pretty cool. And the fact that you can quickly lower it down, so if you don't have a 6th person, now you're just cruising like you normally would, gives you a lot more space up front too. But for 57 grand for this work style truck, I think you're still getting a lot of goodies, because we have the all new screen and a lot of nice technology that you wouldn't really expect to see in a work style vehicle, especially for this being a 23 with the heated and ventilated seats, even climate controls. We have the full adaptive cruise here, which is nice to see. You can drive this every single day, and if you don't want any of those extra bells and whistles, this is still a pretty solid truck for the money and for what you're getting. So I think it's really nice. It's a full-size truck. You have a lot of space on the interior, as you would expect for a full-size truck like this. And it's very nice. It's comfortable and quiet. I've had a lot of seat time behind the wheel of Sierras, more of the higher trim levels like the AT4X, like I mentioned earlier, so I can compare it to more of this base level elevation trim. I really don't have any complaints with it for what you're getting. It's not just some old screen and a couple buttons. You're actually getting a pretty solid and nice interior. And for this 2.7 liter, I mean, you have over 400 pound-feet of torque. This thing is gonna scoot. It's gonna get up and move. And the towing figures that I mentioned earlier, that's even more impressive for the size of this engine. So while it's on that base trim level, it still has that workhorse, that work truck capabilities as far as being able to tow and put whatever you want in the bed. And we'll give it another slight acceleration. And I'm impressed with this engine. It doesn't feel like it's underpowered or anything like that. You can still get basically a base engine and a base truck and still have so many capabilities for under $60,000. Like I said earlier, it's still an expensive truck, but it offers a lot of capabilities. And I do enjoy driving this truck. It is very comfortable and quiet. And the maneuverability is actually pretty nice. Like I said, I've been in a lot of the GMC trucks, and no doubt this is a big truck, but it is very easy to drive and maneuver. And as far as the interior, you've already seen it, going over everything. It is nice. It's a nice place to be. And especially if you want to drive this every single day. We even have a massive backup camera. So you can have this in tighter situations like I am right now and really have no issues. But I think it is so cool to see that jump seat, because I really am not in vehicles that have a jump seat that often. And I could definitely see the versatility in having that. And it's a solid truck for a $57,000 pickup truck. I could see it maybe being a little bit expensive for what it has, but it does have a lot of nice creature comforts and technology that is available. So I don't know, I think it might be a little bit expensive, but it is $15,000, $20,000 less than the top trim level, the AT4X. So when you do compare it to that $70,000, $75,000 truck, which is about what trucks of that trim level and features are going for, being under 60 grand for essentially the same truck, a little bit different of an engine, you know, and other trim pieces and things like that, maybe it's not all that bad. What do you think? Comment down below for this 1500 Elevation. Do you think the price is reasonable for more of a base entry work style truck? And I think that is going to wrap it up for this 2023 GMC 1500 Sierra Elevation. Once again, a huge shout out to Randy Marion, Buick GMC, for providing this full-size truck for me today. Check out their website. That link is down in the description. And if you enjoyed today's video, give it a huge thumbs up, smash that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our daily uploads, and I will see you all in the next video.